What time is it? My stupid alarm clock knocked out my video. I thought getting a new phone would stop all these technicality difficulties with these new phones, but this iPhone 15 Plus is not what I thought it would be. I think I should have got another Pro Max. It's not doing what I want it to do, because sometimes I'll have it on Don't Disturb and it will still ring if I have my AirPod in my ear. My 12 Pro Max didn't do that. When I put it on Don't Disturb, it did not disturb. It's just some things about this phone annoys me. It does a lot of freezing. The battery life is okay, but I think it could be better. Anyways, I forgot what I was saying. Relationship coach. They can tell you, okay, well, you have communication issues, and they'll say, okay, well, my boyfriend or my girlfriend, they communicate negatively. They might shut down. And then the relationship coach might just tell you, well, in order for a relationship to grow, you must communicate, and you must do this, and you must do that, and you can't avoid your partner, blah, 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 right? But if you don't know why you're doing it, you're not going to be able to stop the behavior. You might be aware of it for a little while when you're doing it, and you'll try your best to stop it. But it'll become frustrating, because if you don't understand why you're doing something, you're not getting to the source of it, and it's going to continue. That makes sense? So I believe the relationship coach must understand the importance of understanding the psychology of the mind when you're dealing with couples. A lot of couples are going through a lot of psychological disturbances and warfare with their partner, and they're not understanding it's deeper than a lot of stuff. Like a guy might say, oh, my wife, she liked to have sex when I first met her, but then now that we're together, she hates my guts. And it could be small things that he thinks he's doing. So now the relationship coach might get on the husband and say, well, you need to recognize her more. You need to give her more attention. And then he goes around and starts putting little love notes and flowers. And at first she gets a high off of it. And then she goes back to her usual self of having a nasty attitude and not giving up sex. And you're like, I thought I was doing everything right. You know what I'm saying? I went to the coach, and she's still acting like, she don't like me. Come to find out, she's a damn borderline, or she has bipolar. That sometimes bipolar is a mood disorder. So sometimes if something's going on in her life and she has a bipolar attack and she goes into manic mode or straight depressed, because it's highs and then it's real low. They don't want to be bothered with you. Just leave me alone. You get on my nerves kind of thing, right? So the partner feels left out in the cold because he don't know what the hell is her problem. Or the wife might be dating a narcissist. And these diseases are not gender specific, because I have a nephew and he has bipolar 1 and my niece have bipolar 2. So it's not gender specific. I'm just giving you scenarios of why sometimes relationships coaches, they do these couples a disservice. And you hear that they went back to relationship coaching, and then you hear like a month later one of them got unalived because it didn't help. They needed psychotherapy. They probably needed medication. One of them, to manage these highs and lows. Because when they get low, they can go really low. So these things sometimes are hereditary. My sister that passed away, she had manic depression, bipolar, personality disorder. I mean, she had a lot going on. Because we all the house that I grew up in was the house of horrors. I witnessed almost a damn near murder at the hands of my father. So these things, they scar you for life. Thank God I was able to recognize, my issues, but I recognized it later on in life. when I kept thinking about unaliving myself and having mood swings and constantly irritated and frustrated with life. It was a lot going on internally with me. And some people noticed it. And, you know, people talk about me and my family because I was always available to my family. I had super empathy. And after they would take whatever they want from me, they'll talk shit about me. You know, because a lot of my family members, they have worse conditions than me. So they might say, they might talk about me breaking up with my kid's father and make that like a joke. And it's like, they don't understand making these gossips about me. It brings me back to that internalization of low self-worth. I'm not talking about now. I don't give a fuck now. I'm talking about when I was younger and I didn't know what my issues were. When my family would gossip about me, I would want to run under a rock and hide and be like, "Oh my God, they're talking about me. You know, I'm worth nothing." Now, I'm like, "Bring it, bitch, bring it." Because if I pull out the stuff in your closet, I'm gonna embarrass you. So I don't want to get like that no more. I said, I'm done with all that toxic stuff. But if I would have known, if a therapist would have told me, or because I always used to, you know, tell the therapist that my family is fine, we love each other, because I was embarrassed back then. I didn't know that most of my issues was coming from the family dynamics. Most of my attitude and my frustration and my low self-worth was because I was always trying to be agreeable to my toxic family. And once I realized that no matter what I do, they will never be satisfied, because half of them got mental illness. Half of them need to go get help. Now, I won't say half, probably 3/4 of my family suffer from mental illness. A lot of them are into demon witchcraft. I was trying to get the word out. A lot of them are into witchcraft. I will say this, spirituality also helped me with my issues growing up. Going to seeking God, going to church, but the church also pushed me away in certain aspects, because one of the dudes that, when I went to church to baptize me, he was trying to holler at me and was making me uncomfortable. Ended up being a creep. So it's just like, you really just got to know self. It always comes back to you. Understanding yourself. Understanding your worth. Not letting anybody get into your head. Now I'm talking about once you have done the work, or once you're doing the work. You have to stay on course. You can't let people distract you from the healing process, because what happens is you'll start on the journey of healing and people will start like chastising you, making you feel like, oh, you ain't never gonna get better. You just crazy. You know what I mean? And then you give up. Hold on, I'm putting on my eyeliner. Now I gotta take all these bags downstairs. I need to hurry up and get up out of here. If they got bagels downstairs in the lobby, I'm just gonna eat a bagel, because so yeah, don't let people take you off your course of self-love and self-journey or whatever. Hold on. Hold on a second. I don't really want to do relationship coaching and stuff like that. That's not really my cup of tea, right? But I am fascinated with personality disorders and how deep the psychological torment goes for some of these people that are in dealing with psychological disorders like personality disorders, right? And they don't know that they have it, and they're just doing these patterns of behavior over and over and over, to the point where when their life is completely sabotaged, then they realize, okay, something's wrong with me. So some of these disorders, you can catch them in children, like the BPD, the borderline. You can catch it sometimes as early as 12. Now, narcissism, they recommend not diagnosing a person with narcissism until about 18 years old. So that gives you quite a bit of time to help a child through becoming a full-fledged narcissist. Because once that has become a part of them, it's really hard to break the cycle of narcissism. They're probably going to have to get behavioral therapy to tame it and find coping mechanisms, but they'll never be able to actually get rid of it. For example, BPD, it doesn't really ever go away. Most of these issues, like anxiety, people be like, oh, just get over it, just calm down, just breathe. Yeah, those are coping mechanisms, but you'll never get rid of it. And you have people that go to church and be like, oh, just pray it away. Yeah, you can pray, but that's all coping strategies. Coping strategies. Because let some stuff happen to you in the middle of a prayer. Your lights is about to go off. Your anxiety is going to kick in if you have an anxiety disorder. It's just how the brain functions. This is what the DNA does. Your DNA is how you function. You have epigenetics. Those are things that attach to your DNA. And if your epigenetics is prone to alcoholism, or, if you're in that type of environment, your genes is going to be attracted to that level of consumption of alcohol. You have literal cultures that they consume alcohol on a regular basis. And I'm not trying to be prejudiced, but like Mexicans, they're known for consumption of tequila, right? So they'll drink till they pass out. So you say, well, are they depressed? The whole culture could probably be depressed, but their coping way of dealing with maybe their level of stress or depression could be through alcoholism. I haven't done the studies on different cultures and how mental illness affects certain cultures. I haven't done that, but it was known that Black people suffer from post-stress traumatic syndrome from racism. Even though they didn't firsthand experience it, their genetics are predisposed to feeling that level of rejection. So they already come into this world with an inferiority complex based off of PTSD. So all these things, we grow up not realizing it does affect how you communicate with people. It affects your ego functions. So what happens is you start fantasizing about what the relationships and when you're dealing with people, you start making false people. So everybody is a false person. It's a false setup in your whole brain. How you function as yourself, it's a false self. And then how you deal with people is a false relationship. So now when the person is really trying to get you to open up and be your organic self, it's going to irritate you because you don't like yourself. So to show you who you are, to show that person who you are, is too much shame attached to that feeling. And it's going to make that person get irritated when you keep saying, oh, why can't you open up? Why can't you just, show some emotion? Why can't you just, communicate with me. They're like, ma'am, sir, if I do that, I have to get rid of myself. And I'm not about to do that. I'm not about to get rid of my false self that I've created all these years to be able to cope with life. So you coming along, they might care about you, but they're not finna risk themselves, because they feel like if you see the real them, you're not gonna want them. You remember, a lot of these conditions is just insecurity, but it's not simple just like, oh, it's just insecurity, so just become secure. That missing element was broken a long time ago. And a lot of times it cannot be fixed. Only thing you can do is cope. Figure out coping strategies. And some people will love you enough through it where they will be like, you know what? I never experienced what you had to experience. So I have enough love and compassion to not judge you and be there for you. And then it ends up working out. And in some situations where the person is too far gone and you trying to have a normal relationship with them, and it's only to your demise. You become a basket case trying to help these people. So it becomes like a vicious cycle of one minute they good, next minute they back to psychopath. It's too stressful. So in order to know if your relationship is going to survive, you first have to get a psych evaluation on you. Figure out what's wrong with you first. In my opinion, almost everyone should have one, a psych evaluation. Because sometimes you could be going through life and everything seems normal, but then some type of tragedy happened and you just start acting really strange. Come to find out, you was only, trained to be acting normal because you wasn't going through nothing. But the minute something happens where you have to really be tested, your ego gets tested, then you start to say, oh, wow, I didn't know I had all these issues. Sometimes people come out of relationships and they go into another relationship and they don't realize that the relationship they was in prior caused a lot of psychological disturbances. And then when the new person come along, they're like, oh, I never used to do that before. Because, you start let's say you start physical abuse. And then you trying to tell the person, I never used to hit my spouse before. I don't know what's come over me. And it's like, you didn't get evaluated, and you just went jumping in from one relationship to one relationship, and you never took time to study yourself. You see, sometimes these women, they just going from man to man to man. They can't be by themselves. They might even go across and start, testing out women. They want to experience women. They want to experience, it's like trisexual. I want to try everything. You know what I mean? And then you're like, oh, she's just a freak. And it's like, nah, it's probably deeper than that. She probably got psychological issues. That's why she can't remain alone for a little while. It's too torturous to be alone for these people because they don't like themselves. They don't like being alone because it makes them feel low self-worth. And they feel low self-worth regardless. So they think, well, if I jump into a relationship, I'll feel better about myself. And it's like, nope. They still end up feeling like a piece of crap. This is why you got to get these issues under control before jumping in and out of relationships. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but let me go. I think I'm having pretty decent time to get up out of here. And I'll hit you back later when I'm officially in the truck. All right? Y'all have a great day. Bye.